I'll allow the others to join. So we are going to take a pilgrimage into the end of separation, but to go into that space of the pilgrimage, we have to ask, inquire within ourselves, who keeps interrupting what has never forgotten how to flow? Now, that means the life is in the place of flow, but you have become an expert of managing the life, but you can't allow the life to flow through you. So this interruption eventually into the space of the nervous system. Hi, Matt, good to see you. It's going to be very harmful because it does not know how to regulate in the space of flow. So it micromanage every single thing because you've been conditioned, you've been taught, and you've been enticed by this level of things that are against the normal flow. So you can see your breathing, but that's not because you manage it. I have never seen anyone say, I'm doing this kind of breathing while I'm sleeping. But that's where the life is. The whole galaxy works it out itself, but you think that you have to manage it. So anything interference into a foreign level, you have fear of managing the galaxy, managing the political world, managing the environmental world. And do you know how harmful it is? Even it is allowed to exercise in this level on a level of media. It does not regulate a space of being. So it's opposite to that. Then people want to take a break from that. Then they go into addiction of whatever they're addicted in, whether it's gambling, whether it's alcohol, whether it's pornography, whether it's just to take a break from their normal patterns. But then they create another loop of this is how it works. Some that I have exposed with healing, they're weird patterns, but they look positive. They look that they are doing something correct, but it is still this repetitive path. They can't let go of it. So this class is an embodiment of that practice, and I'm going to give you certain levels of verbal cues for you to inquire into this place, and don't get offended by it. Allow the grief, allow the tear, allow the uncomfort to be there rather than try to push it away. A lot of the yoga world is about feeling good about a class. But that's not, it's actually about this consciousness. It's about not feeling good or bad. It's not escaping this or that. It's not fixing something. It is that place. Can you just observe and witness without forcing anything? Now saying that I will move the camera towards Darren and take a couple of deep breaths, shoulders relaxed, chest open, just engage in that space. Who keeps interrupting what has never forgotten how to flow? So now I would ask you to take a deep breath in, shrug the shoulders up, tilt the head back, massage very, very gently, and chin to the chest, and collapse the spine for a while into a seated cat, breathing in, round tongue stretch up to the upper palate, energy gaze onto the space of the head. Now remember, this is not about interrupting the flow. This is observing why we need this teaching. Breathe out, collapse the spine into a seated cat. Now this time, tilt the pelvis into the forward, breathing in, shoulders roll back and squeeze the back of the shoulder and stretch and look up, up, up as far as possible. Breathe out, looking into the navel and collapsing the spine. Into a neutral spine, breathing in and stretch the neck to the right side. Now we have become expert at managing life, but we are very strangers to trusting life because we think that we have to fix life. We have to correct the system. We have to be politically correct. We have to be environmentally correct. Back into the center, stretch the neck to the other side. Now back to the center. Now I want you to have an inquiry. The exhaustion often comes not from life itself, but from interfering with life. You may have valid reasons, but this is beyond the reasons. So the manager has become tired. Now you see this artificially that you have created intelligence, and that intelligence itself is tired. Back into the center. Now take a deep breath in and twist the spine to the right side, stomach pulled in. Now really open that space. Now flow has never disappeared. One thing good about this, the whole space is it has never disappeared. The question is no longer how do I flow, but who keeps interrupting what has never forgotten how to flow. It's a catch-22, isn't it? Back into the center, change leg formation, very gently twisting the spine to the other side. Back into the center. Shoulders relaxed and chest open. Now interlacing the fingers and palms facing into the front. And drop that shoulder and stretch the elbow a little bit. See where those accumulations are from those constant stimulation happening in this interruption, constant comparison from last moment to this moment. Now stretch the arms up to the ceiling, but not triggering the shoulders to rise up. Now then you have to observe this constant becoming, constant self-improvement. They are very good ones. Many people no longer know how to rest without a guilt because we have made them guilt if they are resting too much. Now spread the wings wide and relax. Now take a deep breath in. And left foot into the back, right hip open. Now, how to be still without that space of the anxiety? Because now being still, if I ask them people to relax when they come for healing, they quite get anxious when they hear the word relax. How to feel emotions without believing something is wrong. Now, this is the age of interruption happening. Now take a deep breath in, elongate the space of the heart, lift up, lift up, lift up, drop the elbows, walk those palms. Now, how to simply exist without trying to become somebody else? Because the moment you are talking about this, that, you have gone far away from the flow. So this class addresses the suffering beneath these patterns. Now these are patterns. Let's call them patterns for the time being, okay? Now take a deep breath in, shoulders relax and chest open. So observe the grief, observe the resistance, observe the fear of not having enough, observe the relief, observe the weariness, observe the deep silence, observe the body may soften, may get tightened, all identities may begin to loosen, may pierce. The nervous system may finally stop holding itself together too hard on you. All is a strangulation. It's strangling you. Not because something is wrong, but because something is no longer need to be carried with you. Plank. Stronger on the pelvic flow. So extend the elbows if you can. If the weight is too much, drop the knee. Now take a deep breath in and left knee onto the floor. Right arm reaching into the front up to the ceiling. Clench and unclench. Give a good rotation to the wrist. Right reaching into the back, touch the floor. Now drop the knee and completely breathe out to the cat. Breathing in into a cow. Breath out to the cat. Breathing in. Now I want you to observe very gently, left arm reaching up to the ceiling from a neutral spine, left arm reaching under the right armpit. Drop. I want you to see, do you need anything to be fixed at this moment? So as soon as you understand, what begins to shift is the anxiety soften. Your relationship to life becomes simplified, not this elongated version or bloated version or the fashionable version. Now, just I want you to observe the body unwinding, breath unwinding. Emotions become less frightening. Now, see, a lot of people don't have that. Silence here becomes the nourishing. Now, take a deep breath in and come back into the space of the cat. Now, neutral spine and rotate the hips wider, wider, wider. Now, what happens? The compassion deepens here. There is no me versus the other. Now, what is happening here is also wider rotation to the other side. Your rest becomes very sacred. Your gratitude appears naturally, not just verbally. You know, verbally people talk about, oh, thank you so much, thank you this. Now, very gently push the hips into the front, stretch the spine into the back. Now, when this happens, what happens? The life becomes less personal. Otherwise, you're bringing the story, what happened to you, why you're like this. You even give excuses for your behavior. That how artificially this self lives in you. And now, see, when you come into this realization, you have to understand the existence begins to feel trustworthy again. Yeah. There's nothing lazy about it, but we've been told to be guilty if we are not doing something about something. So then what is the purpose of this class? Not self-improvement, not spiritual achievement, not becoming enlightened, but the gradual exhaustion of everything that believes it stands apart from life. The question changes from how do I flow to who keeps interrupting what has never forgotten how to flow. So something ancient, something effortlessly, something that unbroken quietly reveal itself. For what has always been whole has never forgotten how to flow. Now, crawling and bringing the chest into the front. Take a deep breath in. I'm coming into the up face. Breathe out towards a down face. Now lift up onto the toes and slightly bend the knees and push a little bit with the extension on the back. Now very gently, left foot into the front, into the pigeon pose. Shoulders roll back, opening up the chest. Lift up the space of the heart. Great. See whether there's any imbalances. So things will come up for you, huh? Energetically, emotionally. Now drop the elbows, walk those palms. Now, who keeps interrupting what has never forgotten to flow? The deeper suffering is not the pain itself, but the assumption that life requires constant management. So what happens? Human beings inherit the belief that existence depends upon personal control. Because you have financial advisors, you have this advisor, that advisor, someone has made a very successful place in the society, so he's giving advice. But yet life breathed before identity even appeared. So what we are doing here is we are exploring this subtle interruption created by the psychological self and the point towards the intelligence that has never forgotten how to flow. And we are trying to go into further contemplation reveals that awareness itself remains untouched by experience. It got nothing to do with your experience. What comes and goes belongs to life, but what knows experience has never departed from itself. So the invitation here is not towards perfection, but towards participation in the mystery without psychological resistance. Okay. Take a deep breath in very gently, coming back. Shoulders roll back, chest open. Observe the breath. Observe the breath into a plank. Stronger on the pelvic floor now. Now, right knee onto the floor. Left arm reaching up to the ceiling, clench and unclench. Left reaching into the back, touch to floor. Drop the knee completely. Breathe out to the cat. Breathing in into the space of the cow. Breath out to the cat. Breathing into the space of the cow. Neutral spine. Right arm reaching up to the ceiling under the left armpit. Now, the original eruption comes from where? Because the separate self is not a mistake, but an adaptive movement born through this conditioning. So the manager emerges to protect. Manager, who you think is the predictor, the manager is the person who says you survive because of me. You see how this got miscalculated. So suffering becomes personal when experience becomes ownership. The more you tell the story, more have you got the ownership of your story. I've been treated badly. I've been looked after badly. I've been this, that. So awakening is not a self-destruction, because some of you have sent me a text saying that, but it's the end of unnecessary psychological burden. Now gently coming back and breathe out to a cat and release and go into the further contemplation that reveals that awareness itself remains untouched by your experience, what you have experienced. What comes and goes belongs to life, I always say. But what knows the experience have never departed from itself is the invitation is not towards perfection, but it always have been towards participation in the mystery without the psychological resistance. Breathing in into a cow, shoulders relaxed, chest open. Keep those palms open, keep those fingers stretched, not into perfection, but allow that energy to flow. Now very gently give a neutral rotation to the hips, wider rotation. Water rotation to the other side. Push the hips back, back, back. Crawling and bringing the chest into the front, breathing into the up face. Breathe out towards the down face. Now feet pointing at each other slightly and push a little bit more. Now take a deep breath in, left leg up into the back, left knee onto the chest, breathe out, stretch back, left knee onto the elbow, stretch back, left knee onto the right elbow, stretch back, left foot into the front, arms stretch into the back, arms raise onto the crown. 6 deep cycles of breath. Last breath in, if you have done 6, doesn't matter how many numbers, opening up onto the Virabhadrasana. Now left palm facing up. Now I want you to see at this moment, observe the breath, of course, observe the alignments of the movement. It's like driving a car. You're responsible for its movement because you're the steering wheel in the space of who moves it. So where is the birth of this manager comes? Now take a mudra as soon as you inquire that. Because the nervous system learned vigilance from a very young age. So the control appeared as love. Hyper responsibility became the identity. Eventually, the organism forgot that life itself was already functioning. But now you could see the manager. All the stories you're saying is an illusion because it comes from the manager is now exhausted because it attempts to carry what was never meant to be carried. Now go into the further contemplation and reveal that awareness itself remains untouched by any experience. What comes and goes belongs to life. Our waves come to the ocean and it goes back to the ocean. Gentle arch. Coming back, elbow onto the knee. Right arm reaching into the front, up to the ceiling. That's it. And now you can angle where you want to go. Right reaching up to the ceiling, into the back and touch floor. Now left arm reaching up to the ceiling. This is the Paravita. Stretch those intestines properly. Allow that liver to have that spleen, to have that space with little bit of a gentle pressure. Pancreas, left reaching into the back and touch the floor. Now drop the back knee onto the floor, holding onto the front knee and push the hips forward a little bit. Arms stretch into the back. Arms raise onto the crown. Spread the wings wider into the Garudasana right on the top. Just touch the third eye and just come into this understanding. Breath comes and goes. It belongs to life. But what knows the experience has never departed from itself. The invitation is not towards perfection, but the participation. You're doing a participation in the mystery of this psychological resistance that you have. So now, in the Garudasana, you ask where this interference lives. It can be forehead tension, it can be jaw holding, it can be chest contraction, it can be diaphragm restriction, it can be in the pelvic gripping of an expression of vigilance. Healing is not forcing to release, because someone asked how to release it. Healing is discovering that awareness is already larger than any of these sensations. Now go to further contemplation. Awareness itself remains untouched by experience. What comes and goes belongs to life, but what knows experience has never departed from itself. So this is an invitation, it's not towards perfection. Participation. How to participate? Be present in the moment. The mystery without the psychological resistance. Now spread the wings wider when you come into that realization. Touch the floor into a plank. Drop the knees and stretch the spine. Crawling and bringing the chest into the front, breathing in into up face. Breathe out towards the down face. Breathing in into a plank. Drop the knees and stretch the spine. Crawling and bringing the chest into the front, breathing in into the up face. Elevate a bit more, shoulders roll back. Breath out towards the down face. Now drop the knees and stretch the spine. Now let's come to see the connection between the mind and its commentary. Absolutely, if you take a thought is innocent. But the commentary becomes suffering only when you believe in those thoughts. You're believing in seeking, fixing. Can you see that you have a problem with constantly, endlessly having this self-analysis? These are the subtle forms of interruption before it becomes addiction, before it become a breakdown. Let's go to further contemplation here. That awareness itself remains untouched by the experience. What comes and goes belongs to life. But what knows experience has never departed from itself. The invitation is not towards perfection here, but towards participation in the mystery without that psychological resistance. By crawling and bringing the chest into the front, breathing in into the up face, breathe out towards the down face, breathing in right leg up into the back, right knee to the right chest, breathe out, stretch back, right knee to the right elbow, stretch back, right knee to the left elbow, stretch back, right foot into the front, arms stretch into the back, arms rest onto the ground, 6 deep cycles of breath. If you feel like the breath is exhausting you, not because of your old story, but right in this moment, you can take a break anytime. Moment is exhausting you, take a break without guilt, without being performing it. Once you have come to that natural flow, the sign of the natural flow, take the posture of Virabhadrasana and take a mudra. When you come to the flow, that's why I said what I said before. The less urgency, there is a greater tenderness to yourself. You have this ordinary intimacy, freedom from becoming, compassion without performing it, willingness to not know. So let's go to further contemplation, gently arch. It is the same, the contemplation. Back to the center, elbow onto the knee. Left reaching up, and then you can go into angle wherever it is leading the energy flows. Observe the breath. Observe the opening of the body. Now, what is the further contemplation? Exactly the same. Awareness itself remain untouched by experience. What comes and goes belongs to the space of the life, like the ocean. But what knows, experience has never departed from itself. This class is not towards perfection, participation, the mystery without that psychological resistance. Now left reaching into the back and touch the floor. Right arm reaching up to the ceiling. Right reaching into the back, touch the floor, holding on to the front knee. Push the hips, arms raised onto the ground. Garudasana lift on the top. Now observe here. So what is the sacred question or the inquiry here? What is missing right now? Even us, who taught me I had left life? Has existence ever required supervision? Are those all those trees and animals and the flocks and the oceans, are they all being supervised? By who? Can awareness itself become disturbed? By who? Now, what is your further contemplation reveal? That awareness itself remain untouched by the experience. I'm repeating this because I want you to understand this. What comes and goes belongs to life. I've been emphasizing on this so much, but what knows experience has never departed from itself. The invitation is not towards perfection, nothing to do with success, nothing to do with surviving life. Life is surviving because there's an illusion of a manager towards participation in the mystery without psychological resistance. Now take a deep breath in, spread the wings wider when you come into this realization and touch the flow. Into a plank. Drop the knees and stretch the spine, crawling and bringing the chest into the front. Breathing in into up face. Breathe out towards the down face. Breathing in into a plank. Drop the knees and stretch the spine, crawling and bringing the chest into the front. Breathing in into the up face. Down face. Drop the knees and stretch the spine. Now, I'm not going to stop here. Now, the people who on a level of understanding beyond this, what is this advanced realization in this practice? You could see even control seeks peace. That is where we kind of get confused here. See, your manager says, I need a holiday, I need peace, I need less noise. Nothing has gone wrong. Home has never moved. Freedom includes the one who fears freedom. Mm-hmm. Now, it's a very powerful observation here. So if you go to the further contemplation, don't just believe what I say. It reveals that awareness itself remains untouched by experience. What comes and goes belongs to life, but what knows the experience has never departed from itself. So invitation is here now what? Not towards perfection, but towards participation in the mystery without the psychological resistance. Now observe that because this is a space that you need to realize very well, but not by doing, not by lyrics, but by embodiment. Now child pose. crown of the head onto the floor and lifting up the buttocks just to get that slight pituitary and the pineal energy activate. Roll back onto the third eye, the fist on the third eye. So now you understand that some people are saying, I want to meditate on this, but give me a technique. But meditation is not achieving silence. Meditation is allowing what already is. It does not need improvement for awareness to be complete. So just put the further contemplation. What does it reveal? That awareness itself remains untouched by the experience. What comes and goes belongs to life. So why are you become the hoarder of events? You are becoming historian of your past stories because you can't live without them. So you have libraries and libraries of this. But what knows experience has never departed from itself. So the invitation here is not towards perfection, but towards participation in the mystery without the psychological resistance. Now wake up the spine one vertebra at a time very gently. Shoulders relaxed, just open. Keep the chest elevated, space of the heart elevated. Now very gently pull the buttocks and stretch your legs into the front. Now shake the legs, shake the arms, release any tension. Now very gently bring that left knee onto the chest, the foot onto the right side. Take a deep breath in, left arm reaching up to the ceiling, into the back. Right arm sitting in the space of that knee with the elbow. Shoulders open, chest open. Observe and keep that torso elevated. Gentle string that lifting up the heart a little bit more. Gentle string pulling the spine a little bit more. Gently opening up the chest. Now, some of you have asked, oh, I'm not that spiritual. Awakening is not a superiority. So a lot of people are doing that. We don't need gurus because there's no hierarchy here. It is an intimacy with ordinary life. There is no places promised in this practice, afterlife. You won't have an afterlife if you're not being participation of this life. So what happens is the humility is it appears as kindness, patience, and simplicity. But go into the further contemplation. Don't stop there. The awareness, it's remain untouched by the experience. What comes and goes belongs to life. But what knows the experience has never departed from itself. The invitation is not here towards the perfection, but towards the participation in the mystery without the psychological resistance. The moment you start talking, that psychological resistance is driving, then the manager has come to the seat. Take a moment. So do not ask how to return. Ask who convinced you that you had left. So do not ask how to return. Ask who convinced you that you had left. Perhaps the life has never forgotten itself. So you never have actually left from anywhere to come back. Go into the further contemplation. Awareness itself remains untouched by the experience. What comes and goes belongs to life, but what knows the experience has never departed from itself. Now, does that answer that? Don't ask how to return. Ask who convinced you that you had left. Maybe your manager. Maybe you have ran the life too much with a manager. Because it's the fashion thing. I have a manager for my role. I have a manager for my business. I have a manager to run my this, that. So invitation here is not towards perfection, but towards participation. Now back to the center and take a moment and let's do the other side in that same realization. Remember that little tiny string pulling the space of the heart, spine. So what are we again? So what have we learned from here? The deeper suffering is not pain itself. The assumption that life requires constant management. There you go, the manager start developing his role. All the human beings are inheriting the belief that existence is depending upon personal control. Yet, today you learn the life breathed before your identity even appeared, before even your manager. So that this is to explore that subtle interruption created by the psychological self and point towards the intelligence that has never forgotten how to flow. So what does the further contemplation reveals? When you witness, awareness itself remains untouched by the experience. What comes and goes belongs to life. But what knows the experience has never departed from itself. So the invitation is not towards perfection. Participation. Come back. Knees both to the chest, completely breathe out. Breathing in, arms raised onto the ground. Breathe out. Breathing in. Breathe out. Breathing in. Breathe out. Breathing in. Breathe out. Breathing in. Breathe out. Now, sole of the feet together, if you can, knees on the floor, if you can, wide apart. And just gently take a deep breath in a butterfly first, and then very gently do a pelvic tilt and roll forward as much as you can. Again, nothing to force. All right, now come into a seated position. Or if you want to lie down, that's fine. So the rest here is not laziness. Because you are totally told if you're not doing something about your life, you're lazy, you don't make money, you don't have success. But what I want to say is this is all wrongly wired. Rest is revealing the intelligence beneath the effort. Because the problem is the effort. So your neuropaths, all those things, the nervous systems running with effort. The body remembers what the mind has forgotten. What is that? The further contemplation? Awareness itself remains untouched by the experience. It comes and goes, belongs to life. Correct? All right, saying that, nothing required from you, nothing needs to be achieved now. Remember who keeps interrupting but has never forgotten how to flow? Let's take a pilgrimage into it. I want you to, nothing needs to become spiritual here. Feel the earth beneath you. Feel the support that has always been present. Now you have not become a wave. The ocean supports the wave. Then life is supporting life. So don't manage it. Breathing is happening because you're managing. Breathing is happening without your effort. Even to tell you frankly, without your permission. Even to tell you honestly, without your management. So notice that something has been leaving you all along. Notice that awareness has never forgotten. While you were taking your degrees, the PhDs, presence has never forgotten. Being has never forgotten. Perhaps what you call awakening is simply the exhaustion of interruption. Perhaps the grace is what remains when interference becomes unnecessary. Can we all come to that place of grace now? Can we all now rest here? Rest as the sky. Deep breath in, rest as the ocean. Rest as the stillness behind movement. Rest before the words and the stories and corrections. Rest as that which has always been whole. How could you even compete with whole? Now ask, who keeps interrupting what has never forgotten how to flow? Nothing needs to answer. Nothing needs to fix. Nothing needs to talk about. Nothing needs to become or push people into it. Because what you are has never left. Who you are has never been divided. It has never been separated. It has never forgotten how to flow. Your manager was really busy. If you kept the manager for your life and your breath, you would have died long time ago. Notice that life itself has never stopped moving. Only your thought believes that something has gone wrong or gone wrong on somewhere else. Who is the one attempting to interfere with what is already occurring? Who keeps interrupting what has never forgotten how to flow? The river does not need instructions to reach the ocean. How it says, does the birds, when they are born, go to a flight school to master their flying? Does the fish born go to a fish school how to swim? The river does not need instructions to reach the ocean. The heart does not need permission to beat. Being itself has never lost its way. The interruption is not life. The interruption is the commentary about life. People get lost in the commentary and the book and the author. The interruption is the manager attempting to improve what was never broken. Rest here, feel the difference between movement and interference. Notice the effort required to maintain separation. When you start talking, you're talking versus something. Notice how exhausting self-management becomes. Separation is work. Presence is effortless. The separate self survives through correction, constant correction. Reality requires no correction. It doesn't need politically to be corrected, financially being corrected. You're not being asked to become whole. You're being invited to notice what never ceases being whole. Saying this does not have a following. This is opposite to following. There's no popularity in these teachings. The pilgrimage here I'm taking you is not towards enlightenment. Pilgrimage is toward the end of unnecessary interference. What if nothing has truly left? What if only identification has wandered for a time being? For some people, it can be 10, 20 years. Some people can be 6 years, 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, 2 years. Time got nothing to do. Only identification has wandered. So if you have a thought of try to do something, fix something, tell something to someone, correct something, just observe that your identity has wandered for a while. What if awareness itself have remained untouched throughout every experience? The clouds move. Is that because the government give permission for them to move through? Sky remains. Emotions move. Awareness remains. Now I want you to go a little bit further. Stories arise. Presence remain. Nothing has to disappear because a lot of people are asking, I want to disappear these things. Nothing has to be fixed. Everything can be allowed in your awareness watch. Healing is not the perfection of experience. I tell a lot of people who come here for healing. Healing is the end of arguing with the experience. Freedom does not come through controlling life. Freedom appears when the controller is seen. Just seen, don't jail him, because a lot of people do that. Self-inflicted pain. The river has always known. So the existence has always known. Then being has always known. Perhaps what you call awakening is simply the exhaustion of interruption. Perhaps the grace is what remains when interference becomes unnecessary. Arms raised onto the crown and palms onto the pranam position. The deepest intelligence in you has never forgotten how to flow. The invitation is not to create flow. The invitation is to stop standing in front of it. Namaste to you all.